Last week, a good friend of mine sent me a text message that said, "Don't be offended, but I think you might be trapped in your masculine energy." And then she sent me a link to a YouTube video. And my initial reaction was rude and also masculine energy, like how anti-girl power of you. But actually, the more I've looked into this, I think she might be right. Hey Clutterbugs, welcome back to the Clutterbug Podcast. Today I want to talk about something that I've been newly introduced to that I find interesting, and I actually think it might be helpful, ? And I wanted to share it with you because perhaps this could be a helpful concept for you as well. And this is the idea of feminine versus masculine energy. And when I first got this message sent to me and was watching this YouTube video, I had this preconceived notion that this was about gender stereotypes and this was about girl jobs versus boy jobs and how girls are supposed to act versus how boys are supposed to act. And I'm not into any of that. I really am not. I was raised by a very strong woman who, took life by the reins and taught me that girls can do anything that boys can do. And there's no such thing as sort of stereotypical gender roles. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing if you believe that. Just for me, I really don't want to be put into a box ever in any way. I just want to be me, whatever that is. So I had these preconceived notions going in of what this meant, this feminine versus masculine energy, thinking it was tied to gender. And the truth is, it really has nothing to do with gender at all. It is completely about energy. And we're going to talk about that in 1 second. But what I also discovered is, yep, I'm pretty sure I am trapped in masculine energy. And what it's doing is it's making me stressed and burnt out because I'm always kind of in this fight or flight mode. I'm always in this action, assertive, got to do this, got to be in control. Can't be, can't let things slack. Sort of intensity, this hard way of living. And it doesn't mean that I don't ever relax, but even when I am relaxing, I feel this like energy inside of me, this very like subconscious, quiet, go, 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 go. And the opposite, which is kind of masculine energy, and the opposite of that, I think, is what I'm really craving, which is instead of hard, but soft, instead of like fast, slow. And to be able to just like kind of go with the flow with less structure. I think that is my natural being. Yes, I'm chaotic, but I am not a logical, structured, let's have rigid tasks and routines. And let's strive for more and let's do a lot of things and achieve a lot of goals. That is totally not my natural state, but I've definitely been in that state for a long time, which is why I think I'm feeling just sort of a little bit lost and a little unfulfilled because it isn't my natural state. So let's jump in and really talk about what is feminine versus masculine energy. And I'm not an expert on this at all, but I've been watching and reading and trying to learn about this. And the general consensus is it's basically like yin and yang. It is two types of energy, and it isn't meaning like boy girl. It isn't gender, even though it's called masculine and feminine. So I guess that feels like gender, but we're just like, whatever. The point is, it's about balance. And men and women should both have both masculine and feminine energy. And we should be leaning into both of those. And sometimes you naturally, I think, have more of one or the other, despite whether you are a girl or a boy. Like I'm just saying, I tend to, I think, my natural state is a more of a feminine energy, even though I'm not presenting as that or living like that right now. And I do think my husband's state is more of a masculine energy, even though he's not living and presenting as that right now, which I find really interesting. But I know a lot of women who I think their natural state is more masculine and men whose state is more feminine. It isn't about like femininity, like, oh, they're girly girls or they're like manly men. That's not what we're talking about here. We are talking about the energy, and let's really break this down and what this energy means. Masculine energy is hard. It is action. It is, achieving. It's assertive. It's logical. It's structured. It's protective. It's control. It's dominating. It might even be a little aggressive at times. It's that sort of warrior, independent, fierceness energy, which we all need to have sometimes when we have like projects and we got to get stuff done. Or when I'm on a fire call and I'm cutting somebody out of a car when they're trapped in the car and I'm using the cutters or the spreaders, or I'm pulling a hose and I'm putting out a fire. I need masculine energy in those moments. It's not that I have to act like a man, it's that I have to have that type of energy. I have to show up in a way that's fierce and that's strong and that's like determined and structured, and I have to follow the rules and I have to do what I need to do. And so that's very like protector, provider, um, masculine energy. Feminine energy, on the other side, is when you are intuitive and empathetic and soft and going with the flow, and there is less structure. You're just doing what you feel. You're really like emotional and vulnerable and patient and calm and kind of just flowing and adapting to the situations around you in a really like laid back, flowy way. So you're letting not just other people take the reins, but just everything else take the reins. You're letting go completely of control and just going where the wind takes you, kind of thing. So it's light, it's nurturing, it's the opposite of masculine energy. And there are times where we need this as well. We truly need both of these type of energies, I think, to feel whole, to feel like ourselves. And for me, I think I am craving to lean more into a feminine energy. And I didn't even know that this is what I was missing, but I do feel like I've been very stuck in this masculine energy for a long time. And I wanted to just share a quick story with you. I think of why this is happening. There's a lot of reasons, I think, why this is happening. First, I was raised by a very strong woman. Second, I left home very young and I had to fend for myself. I left home at 15 and I had to scramble and hustle to find food, to find shelter, to get money. It was like this fierceness. I had to build walls. I had to protect myself. I had to take care of myself and I couldn't depend on anyone. And then I had a period of time where I was really able to let my guard down. When I married Joe and I became a mom, I was still working and earning and doing things, but I really like trusted that Joe would pay the bills. Even though I had a job, he was earning more. I trusted if there was ever, a bad situation, he would take care of it. And I was able to just be soft and not worry because I knew someone else had it. And I could kind of go with the flow, and I leaned into creativity, and people were calling me flighty, but it was nice. It was nice to be able to go to a place where I really wasn't able to go before, and it felt very natural. And then, I still was like a weirdo who wanted to do a lot of things, but it didn't feel like pressure when I was giving myself deadlines, and this is when I was like organizing my house and starting my business, but none of it felt like you got to do, achieve. it was just like, ooh, I can't wait. And I'm doing a little this and a little of that. And there was no real rhyme or reason. And it was just happening out of this very, flowing, passive way of living. And then we fast forward to COVID. And it was during this time that Joe lost his job. My business was doing better. It was doing great. And I had an opportunity to film a TV show in New York. So it was actually a blessing that he wasn't working, because then he could take care of the kids and then he could move to New York with the kids. And I became the provider. And then suddenly I felt this pressure that I hadn't felt before, that not only do I have to earn money for myself now, but my 3 children and my husband, my family, the mortgage, I had bills to pay, I had to earn. Where's that money coming from tomorrow? And owning your own business means it's not just like I have this steady job where I know the paycheck is coming from. I have to make that paycheck. I have to think ahead of like, okay, what's going to earn money today and what's going to earn money tomorrow? And I have to now have like plans and routines. And now I have employees and I have to think about, structuring and what are they going to do and how I'm going to pay for them. And I have to make sure that they're covering their families. I have to, give them things to do and have some sort of planning and structure. And I have to be assertive. And sometimes I have like customers I'm dealing with brands and stuff. And I have to be like tough with them and I have to be like, no, I can't do this. And I need to stick to the plan and I need to take action and I need to achieve and I need to. And so for years, this is the energy I've been living in. This very masculine, aggressive, hard, dominating girl boss energy, where I am doing all these like provider, protector things. I mean, I became a firefighter, for crying out loud. That's just, it's adding the masculine cherry on top with like aggression, and you got to cut through this and you're putting out the fire and you're working hard and you're sweating. And I'm not saying any of that is a bad thing. What I'm saying is it didn't leave any room for me to have any of that feminine energy. I became very stuck in this go, 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 hustle, 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 tough, hard energy for so long that I stopped being as nurturing, maybe, that I don't really know how to slow. And I've lost a lot of that like creative flow and that sort of like, you know, oh, amazing thing that I experienced for so long when I was able to just let go of control and know that everything that somebody else had me, they got me. That was really, really nice. And I think what also happened is the more I stepped into that, the more my husband was allowed to finally take that hat off and fall into that feminine energy of just going with the flow and relaxing. And he still does a lot of things, but he doesn't have that hustle, that pressure, that action. And I think that's not always a good thing either. I think when we're stuck in our feminine energy, it's really hard to push the needle forward. It's hard to do big things and achieve big goals and like get stuff done because we're very much in this, well, I'm just a feather in the wind kind of thing. No pressure, no whatever. And that's not a great place to be either, because you sort of feel all the time like, oh man, another day where I don't feel proud of what I've accomplished. So balance is what we're really talking about here. Balance. Having the ability to make room for both of those energies in our lives. And I think it starts with actually identifying that these are real things, right? I mean, maybe we don't call it feminine and masculine energy, but why not? We can call it that. And are we leaning towards one way or the other more, which is putting us out of balance, right? So for me, I want to activate my feminine energy. And I'm going to give you some examples of things that I'm doing already that I started this last week, and things I've kind of been doing in the past, but definitely going forward that I want to be more mindful to do. But before I get into that, I want to encourage you to be getting stuff done. This is Motivational Monday up in here. What are you doing right now to make yourself proud? And can you be mindful while you do it that maybe you're not in full warrior mode today, unless you are wanting to bring more masculine energy. But if you do feel like you're always like stuck like I am in the go, 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 how can we still do the things you're doing, but slower? Slower. How can you be a little more relaxed about it, a little more flowy about it? How can you take some of the pressure off while you're doing these tasks? And if that's your always state, you're like, I'm always go with the flow and never really having any structure or anything, then maybe we have to bring that like warrior, tough love energy to the task that you're doing. I'm just suggesting that as you're doing awesome things, whether it's decluttering something or doing the laundry or catching up on the dishes or cleaning the house, whatever you're doing right now to make yourself proud, think about your regular energy and what you're bringing and see if you can still do these tasks, but try to be mindful to bring the opposite energy into these tasks and just see how it feels for the rest of this podcast. You know what I mean? Just try it on, like dress up, like we're playing pretend. You're just pulling on either a skirt or pants. Gosh, no, I'm going right into the stereotype here, but you know what I'm saying. Let's see if we can try to still do the things we want to do, but be mindful of the energy we're bringing to those tasks and how we are feeling while we're accomplishing those tasks. I think I was trying this a couple of times this week and it felt different. It felt different, friends. So, okay, let's talk about how I am activating my feminine energy. And I'm going to put a link in the description of the YouTube video that my friend sent me with all the love in the world. She sent it to me and she was right. And I appreciated it. I'm going to put a link to that in the description below. I think it was a very good video and I got some really great tips out of that. And basically, how to activate your feminine energy, I guess it kind of starts with, well, her suggestion in the video was starting with leaning into the stereotype a little bit. And what I mean by that is she suggested maybe dressing a little softer, like like faking it till you make it kind of thing. And at first I was like, are you telling me to put on some lipstick and a dress? I felt like ragey at the idea of this. I really did. You know, it's like when a stranger on the bus tells you to smile and you just want to punch them right in the face. Um, like what? So I felt like initially a little bit like, okay, I'm not slapping on a dress just so I can, you know, ugh. But friends, then I remembered anytime I want to feel like cleaning and I put on an apron, I instantly feel motivated to clean. It puts me in, it shifts your energy. When I want to work out, if I just get dressed in the morning and I put on, like I'm mindful and I put on workout gear and I put on running shoes, I feel like the motivation and I feel energized. I feel like a healthy person who works out just by changing what I'm wearing. So I can see how, and it doesn't have to be a dress. Like, man, if you're not a girly girl, the idea of putting on a dress is probably horrible, but a little bit softer. Can we grab something maybe from your closet that's traditional soft feminine colors? Can we wear just like something that feels, yeah, that feels feminine? Not because it matters what you look like, but because it really can affect your mood and how you feel and put you, I think your clothes can put you into a different energy. So that was a suggestion that I thought was really actually good. Dressing in a way that makes you feel soft, that makes you feel beautiful, that makes you feel feminine, to help you shift to that soft, flowy energy. So for me, I've been trying to put on more floral shirts, flowy shirts. I have some dresses in my closet that are flowy, that feel like that relaxed flow. It's very hard to be, let's go, let's get stuff done, when you're wearing a flowery, flowy dress. Like I found myself kind of twirling and watching it swish, you know? And I was like, oh, this is kind of nice, you know? Giving in to the stereotype a little bit. So that's the first thing that was recommended in the video that I've been trying. And I actually have to say it's been helpful because I have been mindful of this and trying to catch myself and do this. I've noticed the correlation, which I think is really cool. The other suggestion that she gave, which I think is so lovely, and I've done this a few times, but I always forget to remember, so I've been trying to really make a point of doing this, is romanticizing your life. And this really means, again, being mindful, catching yourself when you're doing just everyday things and stopping and slowing and asking yourself, how can I make this feel a little more special? So you're getting yourself a glass of water. Can I put it in a fancy glass? Can I add a little umbrella? Can I add some lemon to it or some cucumber or sliced strawberries? Can I make myself like infused water instead? It's the same water, you know? It's probably from the tap, who cares? But you're romanticizing it. Last night after work I went outside and I was pulling weeds in the garden. And as I'm doing this, I was mindful of this. I'm like, okay, how can I romanticize this? And I put on my gardening apron and I just reminded myself to slow, that I wasn't like as fast as possible ripping the weeds out of. I was looking at the new buds coming on each of the flowers. And I was talking to them softly. I was like, oh, coneflowers, you're about to bloom. Look at you, so beautiful. And then I was looking at my pots that were doing so much better and had all this new regrowth. And I was looking at my ferns and I was pulling away the dead and like fluffing it. And I was feeling, I was still being productive and getting things done, but I was feeling this slow, flowy, nurturing, soft energy, which instantly relaxed me and calmed me. So I was still doing the thing, but instead of like, go, 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 gotta get this done, come on, get, go, 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 it was so much more enjoyable. And it felt like self-care instead of a chore. It was rejuvenating me instead of when it's something that traditionally will like suck me. Does this make sense? So romanticizing your life is you're getting ready for bed. Maybe you just, get really slow and extra massage your face while you're putting on your face cream, or add some Epsom salts or essential oils to your bath. Why not put on lotion on your foot and give it a nice rub, or paint your toenails, or just sit and have your coffee outside and watch the birds instead of your usual like hustle, hustle, hustle doing things, like having your coffee while you're doing the dishes in the morning. This isn't about not doing the stuff. It is about intentionally finding ways that we can make the daily life stuff feel like some kind of, romance movie. Or those aspirational videos we see where it's like someone's pampering themselves. Why the heck can't you pamper yourself? You should. We should. We will do a little romanticizing of our life. Okay, the next thing that she recommended doing, which I love this idea, is scheduling more time, which scheduling is very masculine, but sometimes we got to do what we got to do. But scheduling that time for creating and playing and doing like the spontaneous kind of, nurturing thing. Maybe you're just baking cookies. This is my plan later today. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put on some soft, relaxing music and I'm going to bake some cookies. And I have a lot of rotten bananas that like, I just want to throw in the freezer for later. No, I'm going to just make banana bread. And I'm going to like pretend, I'm some crazy homesteader. No offense to you homesteaders that are just like, la la. No, I haven't milled my own wheat or whatever you do. And the eggs came from the grocery store, not my chickens. But I can pretend. I can I can pretend and I can create and maybe I can paint or maybe I can just cut some flowers out of the ditches. We have all these they're definitely weeds, but purple flowers along our road growing in the ditches. And I always drive past and I'm like, oh, those are pretty. Why don't I just go and cut some and bring those weeds in my house and make a flower arrangement? Like play and create. The next thing that she recommends is something that I'm really scared to do. I used to be fine with this, but like lately, probably because I'm stuck in my masculine energy, it's difficult, and that is be vulnerable. Allow yourself to cry when you're upset in front of other people. Like, let down your guard and just be emotional, be vulnerable, allow yourself to show weakness, allow yourself to just be open and trusting that other people aren't going to judge. And even if they do judge, that's okay because that's their problem and not yours. I've been hard lately. I've been very like closed, and because I'm in such like go, fight, or flight mode, you can't help but also then not be that soft, emotional, vulnerable. Like it's very hard to be both at the same time. And I think that's what we're talking about when we talk about balance is allowing yourself to sway like a pendulum back and forth between these two energies instead of being stuck into one, which is what I really am. So I think another part of this vulnerability is letting go of control, which is hard for me because I do feel like I'm the sole provider of our family, and I'm the one who is very like, okay, now we're doing this and we're doing this and we're doing this and I'm in charge, and that's it. I'm in charge. I'm in charge of my family, and I wish I wasn't sometimes. But if I keep treating my husband like a child and I'm his mommy and I keep acting in charge, of course he's going to take a back seat and just let me roll with it. I'm not letting him step into his masculine energy because I'm bulldozing him with mine. And it might mean if I'm letting go and being vulnerable and stepping back and letting other people take control and going with the flow, not always, but sometimes, because I need to, my friends. It might mean that other people stumble and make mistakes, and that's okay. Because I stumble and make mistakes all the time. But it's really hard when you've been a control freak for a while, which I never thought I was a control freak, but I think I'm a control freak. When I've been like this for so long, it's really hard to let go. Man, it's so hard because you've been doing things the way you've been doing it for so, so long. And you have to really trust that other people will do it if you don't. And then if you trust that they will and then they won't, you have to say, well, that's okay that it didn't get done. Right? We have to be like, well, it's okay. Until also, if like I've been doing all of this for so, so long, when I just like come to a screeching halt and now sort of thrust the reins back into my husband's hands, he's going to be totally out of practice. And it's going to feel like, yeah, of course there's going to be some stumbles there. And I'm not always going to let him take the reins because I'm a feminist. Okay? But I do think balance. We should both have equal masculine and feminine, or lean into the one we're sometimes. That's all I'm saying. So, yep. Anyways, my point is I'm struggling. I'm struggling with the control one and the vulnerability. But understanding that it's a struggle for me, I think, is the first step. And recognizing it and trying to be more mindful about letting go and being more flowy. It starts with putting on a dress, I think. I got the dress. Check. I'll let you know how the rest goes. All right. Now let's talk about the thing that I'm excited to talk about, which is your home as sort of a feminine sanctuary. I think when we talk about feminine and masculine energy, we can't not lean a little bit into the stereotypes because that's just the reality of the situation. And yes, it's all about balance and we should be both. And it isn't a boy or girl thing. But I do think feminine energy does lead into this like nurturing, homemaking type thing. And when we are in that masculine energy, it can feel like it's very hard to do this home nurturing thing when we're not feeling nurturing and flowy and creative. And like, we're just like, we're forcing ourselves to do something that isn't in sync with the energy that we're feeling. So when we can see taking care of our home as sort of this like sacred feminine act, and we can do it with that type of energy, I think it's more enjoyable. Actually, I know it's more enjoyable. And I know this because even before I even was thinking about feminine and masculine energy, I knew that if I did things like put on soft music or put on an apron or the power of pretty, right? Making a space feel pretty with a couple pillows or some flowers and doing that type of very feminine type thing to my home, I actually enjoyed taking care of it. But when I saw it as a task that had to get done and it was a to do and I had a schedule and I had to check off and it was very like dust and then vacuum and then mop and then bleh. Ugh, it was the last thing I wanted to do. It was that is not the type of energy you have to bring when it comes to taking care of your home because it doesn't go together. Those two types of energies don't have that flow that we need. I think whether it's decluttering, which is like I'm removing the old to make room for the new, when we do it with that type of like loving, nurturing, caring energy, when we bring that into these tasks, I feel like it's more enjoyable. I am still going to bring some tough love and I'm going to scream at you because also sometimes we need that too, right? We need the balance. We need both. But for me, I have to be really intentional about seeing that my home and taking care of my home is a way to recharge my feminine energy when I do it right. It's a way to make me feel, yeah, loving and creative and compassionate and nurturing. Whether we're cleaning, whether we're baking, whether we're taking care of our gardens, it's this soft, calm, romantic, beautiful nesting type energy that we can bring to that, which makes it feel cozy and inviting and relaxing and all of the things that are feminine energy, right? And when we have a cluttered, messy, chaotic home, that's very much like, hard and it's very masculine energy when our home is reflecting this back to us, when things are out of control or even too structured, right? Too cold, too minimalist, or too full and too busy and too much work. Both of those have that kind of like hard, aggressive, chaotic energy, which is not what we want. So I guess my point is I'm always going to tie it back, always going to tie it back into how getting a handle on your home can really truly impact so many different areas of our life and our happiness and our mood and our state of mind. But I do think if you're struggling with the motivation to do these type of tasks, just identifying what energy you're bringing to it can be actually really helpful. Okay, so last but not least, okay, we're going to talk about the power of receiving. I think this is that one big thing, part of feminine energy that is important. And that is, like we talked about, letting go of control and just taking life as it comes and adapting and pivoting to the way it comes. We're showing up for whatever comes our way and we're taking it in stride. This is not me. I have a really hard time asking for help. I have a really hard time accepting help. I have a really hard time when I've made a plan in my mind and there's a monkey wrench thrown in, adapting and just being open to whatever. I thought I was. I thought I was a really laid back, go with the flow person. Turns out I'm not. I'm not at all. And I got to work on it. And I am working on it. Receiving and just allowing things to come to you instead of chasing is very feminine. Instead of nagging, going, be like, did you put the dishes in the sink? Did you pick up your laundry? Did you do this? Did you do this? Get up, you got to go. You're going to miss the bus. You got to did you take the dog for a walk? Did you, naggy, 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 chase, 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 chase. What if we're more like receiving, just seeing what other people do? I'm not overly hopeful that if I step back out of the role of boss and leader and director, that other people are going to actually fill that void. I'm not optimistic. I'm going to just tell you the truth. I feel like everything's going to go to crap and no one's going to do anything. But guess what? I have not actually given them the opportunity. I really haven't. Maybe for like a day or two, and then things will start getting bad, and then I start freaking out. But I really haven't given them time to see, okay, mom and wife are not going to come in and direct. I have to be the director of my own life, and given them some time to like pull it together and see what, if they can step up and step in because I've stepped back. I'll let you know how it goes, but I do think that is an important part of feminine energy that is going to be very difficult for me. The letting go, really. Whoo! Anyone else feel that? Anyone else feel that? Let's do a final quick thoughts and takeaway. And I have some very exciting news to share with you. Okay, Clutterbugs, I have the most exciting news. We are announcing some brand new segments coming to the podcast. We're going to change up the podcast and include you. We're going to feature you, our amazing listeners, in the podcast more. We want to hear your decluttering stories, your organizing wins, and your organizing disasters. Because let's face it, we all have them. I want your stories. We're launching one new fun segment, which I'm really excited about. It might be called the dating game, but we might call it like decluttering dinosaurs. I really don't know, but I'm curious what you think. Let me know your idea. But anyways, this is where you reveal the oldest items you've ever decluttered during your decluttering journey. So did you find salad dressing from 8 years ago hiding in your fridge? Or your grandmother's brooch that was missing for decades? Maybe something wild like birthday cards from another century tucked in an attic box? I want to hear it all. The shocking, the sentimental, and the straight up strange. But I also want to hear your before and after transformation stories. What was your life like before you started your journey of decluttering and organizing, and how has it changed now? Or maybe you have an organizing myth you'd like me to demystify, something that it's just a question that's been on your mind. I want to tackle those burning questions for you. Okay, so this is how you submit, how you join and share your story. It's really, really easy. Just visit clutterbug.com/talk to Cass. That's clutterbug.com/talk to Cass with one S, CAS. Click the button and then record yourself telling your story. Maybe we'll get to talk to you in a future episode. I am so excited for this. Don't be shy. Your decluttering stories, your organizing stories might be exactly what someone else has to hear to stay motivated on their journey. I can't wait to hear from you. Again, that's clutterbug.com/talk to Cass. Okay, my friends, I hope this made you think about your own energy a little bit differently. And if not, if you're like, Cass, I totally don't agree with any of this, that's okay too. Sometimes it's just hearing things in a different way or being open to a new mindset shift that can be really helpful and change things. It's these little subtle things that can have actually a really big impact on our lives. So I'm going to go bake some muffins and cookies while relaxing to music and think about how I can plan to plan less. No, this is ridiculous. How I can let go and step back and allow the people around me to step in to fill that void. This is going to be hard. But you know what? We're allowed to rest and we're allowed to feel good and we're allowed to feel feminine and go with the flow and not always be in control because it's all about balance. If you liked this episode, please make sure that you share it and definitely share comments with me. And I will talk to you guys next time.